It's typically a time to relax and unwind from the fast-paced school year. However, for some kids who do best with structure, this break can actually lead to stress and anxiety. Dr. Brooke Weingarden joins us in studio now to go over some of the things you can do to make those kids specifically feel better. So this is actually something that I was not aware of that is an issue. How can parents go about trying to give them some of that structure?
So that's a really good question, and it's a really important thing to remember. It's not the kids that you think. You know, a lot of kids that have social anxiety and generalized anxiety, they're loving summer. This is a great time, a break from the grind of school, the pressures, a lot of things that they put on themselves and that they feel, academics and all of that. But a lot of kids with ADHD, kids with developmental concerns, kids on the autism spectrum, sometimes even kids with depression that are really used to being able to count on that day-to-day, 9 to 5, whatever their school schedule is, they almost feel unsettled and they feel like something is not quite right, and just having all that free time, even though it's fun for a short time, can lead to behaviors and anxiety and almost a feeling of unrest and panic.
So this is a good reminder that, we don't all think or feel or see things the same or experience life the same. Is there something that parents can keep in mind as far as what to look out for and then some plans they can implement?
Absolutely. So a lot of times when kids have anxiety or unrest, what we see are behaviors and acting out and more fighting with their siblings, sometimes more retreating, sometimes either wanting to do more, not, you see a lot more irritability and acting out and that kind of thing. I think it's important, even though it's nice to have a little time off in the summer, to try to find some sense of structure even in a non-school time. So that means waking up maybe not quite as early as a school day or a work day, but having something that seems sort of set. A regular time to get up, a regular time for lunch, maybe certain activities that you can count on. Sometimes a visual schedule can be really nice for kids so they know these are things to be looking forward to throughout the year, or throughout the week, throughout the day. This is what I know is happening. This is what I can count on.
Yeah, so something set for that day.
Right.
With parents with multiple kids, is this also a time to remember that because, like we said, not everyone's the same, let's not do it blanketed for all of your kids because some may appreciate that downtime, right?
For sure. And it doesn't mean don't have downtime. I think all kids can certainly benefit from a little bit of structure. And that may even be going to a day camp or a summer camp or a sport activity where it's still fun and downtime and games, but you know that it's somewhat scheduled. You know that you're counting on, I show up at this time, we do these things, these are the activities. And it just gives a little bit more to expect. You know what to expect. You feel a little more secure with your schedule.
And Dr. Weingarten, I know for some kids they may not necessarily vocalize that this is what they need, so we got to pay attention to the signs. How can you start that conversation to see if there is a need there?
So, you hope that, we know our kids. We know if a behavior is a little different than usual, if our kids are acting out more than usual. I have a lot of parents call me and say, behaviors seem to be getting worse. They're escalating. My kid seems a little bit more agitated, more unsettled. And that's when you really have a conversation, whether it's with your child or your doctor or your therapist or whoever you're working with, to say, what can we do to kind of give you that support? Do you need maybe to talk to someone, or is it just a matter of kind of rearranging things so you feel that sense of comfort within a routine?
And could this be something too just for the whole family to make just a fun experience in some way?
Of course. Summertime is a time for fun. It doesn't have to be, you must take summer school and classes and learn. But it's good. Let's pick something the family likes to do together and maybe even make some chores out of it. Maybe make some fun activities, some summer games, and do it together, but let's have it on the schedule. Let's have it up on the refrigerator so that we know that these are things that we're expecting. Once things kind of get, if you're sleeping in, if you're going to bed late and everything's completely out of whack in your whole system, then things start to feel a little chaotic.
Yeah, excellent advice, Dr. Weingarten. Thank you so much.
Thank you.